Whew, gotta keep you some nice clean water. Now look, before purchasing a home, which is oftenly mistakenly seen as a guaranteed asset, you must first understand your positioning. Because buying a home is not the smartest move, not for everybody. Trust me, it's not for everybody. Always remember, the only true asset is the land itself, once free and clear. Now, I see a lot of young people celebrating the fact that, they bought a home, but it's just them by themselves, or them and who they were in a relationship with, and they have no kids, no long-term plan. You got to ask yourself, what is your unique situation? What do you expect in the next 5 to 10 years? Is it the right timing to even buy? Sometimes it's not even the right time to buy. Buying just to say that you are a homeowner is not a flex. It's a trap. Because you can get screwed, and most of the time you get screwed, especially buying a home in a seller's market. Just like you could get screwed selling in a buyer's market, right? Always got to look at interest rates. The last thing you want is to be locked in a 30-year mortgage with no strategy. Now look, if you are single and under 30 or even under 35, locking yourself into that kind of deal without knowing your long-term family and career plans, it could be financial suicide. The better approach is to think strategically. Are you planning to build a family of 4? You and whoever you're in a relationship with, and at least 2 kids? Are you stable in your job, city, and lifestyle? Do you have enough liquidity to pretty much handle emergencies without risking foreclosure? Only then you should move into the stage of buying with purpose, right? Now, the only reason you should be purchasing a home when you're single with no family is if it's a strategic play, right? It doesn't make sense to lock yourself into a 30-year deal if you don't have roots, if you don't have stability, or if you don't have a long-term plan. That's putting yourself in financial handcuffs. But if you're buying because the area is growing, if you're looking at equity potential, or you're setting yourself up to rent it out and turn it into an income stream, now it's a business move, not just a personal move, right? And sometimes renting out is not good too. That's something I could talk about later on. Don't get caught up in the hype of ownership just for the title. A house without strategy, that could be a liability. A house with strategy, that could be leverage. And that's where you want to position yourself, with leverage. So unless you are turning that purchase into an asset that works for you, whether through appreciation, house hacking, or rental income, it doesn't make sense to actually buy a home while you're young and still single. You're better off renting. Remember, buy smart. Don't just buy emotional, because buying a home is not for everybody. It's all about your unique situation. See, everybody want to flex that they have bought a house. But let's really cut this up for a second. Equity is the real deal. If you're not thinking equity, you're not playing the game right. Now me, I got a family of 6. I need space. I need stability. I need 2 offices. One here, one at the home, and one outside the home. So my situation is unique. For me, it's not just about owning a home. It's not just about owning a home. It's about securing a win-win setup. And here's where everything gets strategic. I bought in one of the wealthiest areas, not just in Texas, but one of the wealthiest areas in the country, right? The demand is rising. The land is expanding, right? And the builders are working nonstop. They're putting up homes every single day. And they'll keep building for the next 5 to 10 years. On top of that, there are new gas stations being put in, new grocery stores, new businesses, new schools, new infrastructure. All signs that the demand isn't slowing down. It's only increasing. That's what people missing. You don't just buy a home, you buy into an area's future. So in my case, even if I decide 5 or 10 years from now that I don't want to live here anymore, I can sell. And when I sell, I'm walking away with, you know, I'm walking away with more than what I actually put in. And that means I can pay off the home. That means I could, you know, free up my credit and walk away with a fat lump sum to stack in the safe. That's playing your cards right. People be happy as ever just to say, I'm a homeowner, when most people are getting screwed 9 times out of 10. So if you're single, no family, and you're buying just to say you are a homeowner, that's not a flex. That's a trap. You're locking yourself into a 30-year deal with no plan, no equity, no exit strategy. That's like marrying somebody on the first date. You know, you wouldn't do it in relationships, so why would you do it in a $300,000 deal, or $400,000, $500,000 deal? Like, that's dangerous, and you setting yourself up for failure. The truth is, most people buy homes with emotion, not logic. They don't study the area. They don't research expansion. They don't ask if demand is rising or falling. These are questions you got to be asking yourself. And you need the answers to those questions. And then 5 years later, you know, you stuck broke. You know what I'm saying? Bitter. And because the house that, you know, you thought was an asset turned out to be a liability. It happens every day. So if purchasing a home is your goal, remember this. Always have an exit strategy. Always have an exit strategy. Don't just look at where the area is right now. Study the history and the future. Ask, is the area expanding? Is the demand rising? Are businesses and families moving in, or are they moving out? Like, these are all things you got to take into consideration, because the real play isn't just owning a home. The real play is owning equity. Owning the equity. Equity pays you when you leave. Equity is what sets your family up. Equity is what allows you to say, we played our cards extremely well. So if you're going to buy smart. Don't just buy a house. You know, you want to buy into the future. You want to make sure that when it's time for you to leave this area, when I leave this area, that I gain something and get the house paid off to where I was able to build my credit. So, like I said, when I have that opportunity, if I decide to sell within the next 5 to 10 years, guess what? House will be paid off, credit free and clear. Credit is going to skyrocket. The equity is building over time. So as that equity is building over time, my house is going to be worth more than what it was when I first bought it. So that's what you want to take into consideration when you're buying a home. And make sure you ask the right questions. Make sure you ask the right questions and make sure you do the research. Don't just buy a home just to be buying a home, because a lot of people are getting screwed over. And I don't want to see people get screwed over, especially, you know, people that are close to me, people that are a part of the union. You know what I'm saying? My growing foundation. I don't want to see that happen to y'all. You know, and I'm going to be talking more about how to acquire land without as much as you think you need to be putting into actually buying land. I'm gonna be talking about that before the end of this year is up. You know what I'm saying? I'm still in the growing phase on YouTube. I'm still growing and you know, putting out content for you guys, not only about trading, but about, you know, business and how to expanding that. So we're gonna get into how to acquire land later on this year. And you're not gonna need, you know, thousands and thousands of dollars. You're not gonna need credit. Credit is not gonna have nothing to do with what it is I'm talking about. But just keep these things in mind, and I want you to make sure that you work, hustle, and invest, because those are the most important things. Work, hustle, and invest. That's gonna keep you ahead of the game. Keep educating yourself, Master Quency. You know, we doing what we got to do. Appreciate y'all. I'm out.